because this is to immobilise it. As you can see, its feet are off the ground and it's not going to wriggle around too much. This one might still wriggle around a little bit because it's a pet sheep, and pet sheep are really annoying. All right, we'll get you nice and comfortable. No, who's this? This is Lady Baba. She'd like to say hello, by the way. Go, hello. Hello. Wave back. Come on. Oh,
Lady Baba the sheep.
all right, she also wants to smile. Go, cheese. All right, now we always shear the sheep the same way. We don't ever change it up, because when the rouser comes around afterwards to pick up our fleece, they have to pick it up the exact same way so that the production line of the wool is efficient as possible. Now the first bit of wool that we'll take off is our belly wool here. This will be kept separate and will get put somewhere else because that's what the sheep lies on all day long. It gets dirty, it gets all the dirty stuff through it. So we want to keep that separate from the nice wool. The other thing you'll notice is this sheep hasn't got 12 months of wool. This sheep was actually shorn 6 months ago. It was lucky enough to be brought in the other day and it's getting re-shorn. But don't worry, sheep are extremely robust. Even with winter approaching, it won't feel the cold a lot. When I take them home, I put them in a little paddock by themselves, give them a whole heap of hay to make sure they're nice and fattened up for winter, and then they'll grow that wool back within 12 months and they'll be perfectly fine. Alrighty then, we'll get started. There we are. Alright, so like I said, we're taking the belly off first. There we are. Last little bit down the bottom here. Now we do have to be very careful when we're shearing. There's lots of little bits and pieces down here we don't want to chop off. Be nice and careful. Alright, so we keep that belly separate there. Now we go on to the crutch. Now crutching is where we take the wool off around the backside. Now crutching is most times done before shearing and before winter as well. This is to make sure that the sheep got a clean backside coming into winter, as well as got a clean backside when we're shearing them as well, because it makes it easier. But I didn't crutch them before shearing them, so that's fine. Alright, now we're going on to the first real bit of shearing. This is the first leg. Now this is what we call a blow. A blow is where we go from point A to point B. And we want to do as few blows as possible. The reason for that is because if we're always doing little digs here and there all day long, we're going to take a month of Sundays to be able to shear a sheep. It also makes sure that the fleece that we shear off, not this one though, comes off as one piece. Alright, now it's time to give Lady Baba a bit of a haircut. There we are. Give her a trim up around the side of the face there. There we are. Alright, now we're going to move on to the hardest bit of the sheep. This is going up the neck. Now the reason this is the hardest bit of the sheep is because we can't actually see where we're going, so we have to go really slow and really carefully. Oh, settle down. There we are. Up like that. Now we do a few more blows up the neck there.
What do you want to do? You want to watch?
And we go out through the leg here. Alright, I'm going to wriggle around a bit. Now this is what we call the long blow. Now this is where a shearer is going to make up most of his time if he's got a bit of a slow sheep, and he's going to take most of his wool off. So the long blow is where we go from the tail all the way up to the head. Now it normally takes a shearer, like I said, with blades, about 5 minutes. For a shearer with modern shears, it can take about 2 or 3 minutes, or even sometimes less than a minute, with the actual world record being held by an Australian shearer as well for just 30 seconds. But as you can tell, I'm slowing it down a little bit, taking my time. It's a Sunday, I'm allowed to have a day off. And also so you can see how it's done. There we are. Now another thing that's very important when you're shearing is to try and do as few second cuts as possible. Now what second cuts are, and I'll show you, is what happens is if we shear our sheep like this, I've just shorn here, but there's all this wool sitting here. And then when we come and shear it again, this stuff, it's got 2 cuts, one at the top and one at the bottom. And the problem with that is that wool can't go through the wool machines at the wool factory. So that has to literally just get thrown out. So when we're shearing, we're trying to do as few second cuts as possible. And that comes back to making sure we do nice and efficient blows. Just like this, where we come down. Just like that. There we go. Now shearers get paid per sheet, and originally they got paid about $3.20 a sheet. At the moment though, with a shortage of shearers, it's currently looking to be about $4 to $5 a sheet roughly. Now the reason shearers get paid per sheet is because if they got paid per hour, this is quite a hard gig, that they'd probably just shear one sheep an hour. Everyone else in the shed though gets paid per hour. The Rouseys who do the work for the shearers, they get paid per hour, and so do the wool class. Make it look nice and pretty. Flick it off. There we are. Oh, have a look at that, everyone. Nice and pretty. All right, now we're going to pop her back in the pen over here. I'm going to give her a little bit of a drag, and then we're going to let her run the last bit. She looks a bit funny, doesn't she? All right, up you pop. There you are. Alright, and then so after that, what would happen is the Rousey would come along, they would pick up the fleece, throw it onto a table, and they would skirt the wool. So that's taking a little bit of wool off around the outside that's got sweat, dirt, dags, all that sort of thing. That then gets put into a big bale, like these ones over here, that can weigh up to 200 kilos. That gets put onto a truck, shipped off to the wool factory, and that gets sorted out from there. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. Our next show is the dog show, which will be at 12:30. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day at the Birdwood Farm Day. We'll see you later, guys.